Well, in this demo lesson, we're going to talk about some key peripherals we have to protect, look at some solutions, and then look at a demo of one of the most popular endpoint data protection solutions for Windows, BitLocker. One of the first things we have to do in our risk assessment and gap analysis is consider all the different peripherals that are out there that we need to secure. So we have to consider all of our USB keys. We have to also consider the fact that do we have control over USB ports automatically on provisioned systems in our organization? Do we have acceptable use policies for using USB keys that you bring in from home, for example, and that you plug those into your system? What about all wireless devices? And all different types of wireless devices, okay? Not everything uses 802.11. 11N, 11G, or whatever. There's different types of devices that use different parts of the RF spectrum. For example, Bluetooth. We need to use modern software that allows us to prevent blue snarfing, blue jacking, and other Bluetooth vulnerabilities. It should also be part of your AUP for provisioned PDAs and cell phones. Infrared detection. Are we going to allow this on our workstations, our laptops? Do we have a way to monitor and audit the copying of data from one system to another using infrared as part of our data loss or data leakage prevention? There's also radio frequency or RFID. .11. What is your wireless policy for peripherals? Are you using EAP? Do you have control over operating systems to allow or disallow, based on least privilege principles, the ability to mount drives or map drives? Do end users have the ability to map drives to key file servers, for example? Webcam protection is very important, as simple as using tools to cover up your webcams on your laptops. Control the usage of webcam and instant messaging. I'll show you an example of that here in a second. And have a webcam policy or section in your AUP. The recording microphone can be used for a wide variety of intelligence and information gathering. Social engineering attacks, using the recording microphone on your iPhone or other endpoints. Do you have enforcement in place to handle employees or contractors or temporary workers that record conversations or meetings? Are you looking for audio output devices or uploading audio files to the cloud or software as a service? The SD ports and memory cards, those can have a ton of data on them. What are you using your HDMI ports for on your laptops? Are you using local file and disk encryption? We'll look at BitLocker here in a moment. And are you updating software and firmware to enhance security? Is it part of your NAC or NAP solution where you're enforcing quarantine and remediation for unpatched systems? Here we see an example in the Adaptive Security Appliance, how we're going in and creating a policy so with deep packet inspection, we can inspect instant messaging over HTTP. And we're only going to allow in this policy MSN Messenger. And as you can see here, we're controlling the services. So for example, what I would do here, it says match, but I would actually choose no match because what I want to allow is only the chat. So I would say don't match the chat service, and then I want to drop and log everything else. So I would drop conferencing, I would drop file transfers, games, voice chat, and of course webcam. So this is an example of how you can use a next generation firewall to control what services are being used within instant messaging. For example, voice chat, webcam, and file transfer, all which are huge areas for data loss and data leakage. It would be nice if you could find a single vendor solution for all of your endpoints and your peripherals. Here's a possibility. I've been to the CEIC conference, which is a forensics and incident response and investigation conference, and one of the major sponsors is Guidance Software and Encase. I think it's actually called the Encase Conference now. And they have Encase Endpoint Security 6, which could pretty much cover all your bases, with software endpoint security going to the cloud, as well as protecting the different peripheral services on those devices. As you can see, it has a beautiful redesigned user interface for administration. It's also got incident detection and incident prevention. It also has integrated threat intelligence with IDS and IPS, really next generation continuous monitoring of endpoint activities and deep visibility into pretty much any forensic artifact on the system, as well as usage of ports and peripherals. And it's automated, completely automated on a daily basis, using threat scores, process tree visualizations, distributed indicators of compromise searches, and integration from third-party tools. So again, try to find a single vendor solution for all of your endpoint security needs. Okay, in this demo, I want to do some encryption with BitLocker. So I'm going to find my USB drive here. I'm going to right-click on this, and I'm going to turn on BitLocker. BitLocker drive encryption. I'm going to use a password to unlock the drive. You could also use a smart card to unlock the drive. You have to, of course, insert the smart card. You'll need a PIN, but I'm not going to do that. Just going to use a password credential. Now, I'm going to have a recovery key because for some reason I forget that password. I'm not going to be able to get to that information. Just forget about it. So if I forget my password or I lose my smart card, I can use the recovery key. So you could print it out or you could save it to a file. Let's go ahead and do that. And let's just save it to the desktop. And you see there it is down there. Recovery key. And you can see here's my recovery key up here. Next. So they're saying here, if you're enabling BitLocker on a PC or a drive that's already being used, then encrypt the entire drive. That makes sure that all the data is protected, even data that you deleted, but might still be retrievable. So you have an option, encrypt used disk space only, which is faster and is the best choice for a brand new PC or a brand new drive. Or in my case, you would encrypt the entire drive. It's slower, but it's best for ones that have already been in operation. Now I'm going to go ahead and use this option because I want the faster option. It also mentions, I think I've also shown you this somewhere else in this training, but Windows 10, this version, introduces XTS AES, which has additional integrity support, but it's not compatible with older versions of Windows. So if I were to go ahead and use XTS AES, I may have problems with that USB drive on older Windows versions. If I'm concerned about that, I could use compatible mode. I'm going to use the new encryption mode, XTS AES, and click on Next. So before I click on Start Encrypting, I want to make sure I really want to do this. It may take a while depending on the size of the device. And we've seen this before with other tools. And again, until the process is complete, my files aren't protected. So I'm going to start encrypting. While that's going on, I brought up the Manage BitLocker window, clicked on that hyperlink there, and you can see here we can back up the recovery key, we can change our password, remove the password, add a smart card, turn on auto unlock, and turn off BitLocker. So encryption of the F drive or the USB drive is complete. It was faster because I chose that faster option. I didn't encrypt the entire drive. So information on that USB fob that had been deleted actually is probably still retrievable. So if, forensics came in, it was the FBI or some other forensics team, maybe representing an insurance company, they would most likely be able to retrieve the information on that drive that I deleted. Close out of there. Okay, I'm going to RDP over to this machine, a different machine. I'm going to take that USB drive that has BitLocker on it. I'm going to put it in this machine and see what happens. Okay, so I put it in there. It says this drive is protected by BitLocker drive encryption. So type in the password to unlock this drive. I'll show the characters while I type them. And then unlock. Now, unable to complete the request operation because of either a catastrophic media failure or data structure corruption on the disk. Is that true? No, it's not. Not at all. Here's the problem. This machine is a Windows 7 machine, Service Pack 1. So it does not understand XTC AES. It does not understand that new version of AES. It's unable, based on the operating system, to decrypt it. So I cannot use that USB key on this machine. Okay, so I wanted you to see that kind of in action. Cancel out of here. Let's get out of here. I'm back on this machine. So this drive is BitLocker protected. So if I go to double click on it, it wants the password to unlock the drive. If I don't know the password, I can enter the recovery key. Well, let's go ahead and do that. Let's assume I forgot the password. So I better go get my recovery key here. Here's my recovery key. copy. And then unlock. There we go. So now I can unlock it and I can see the information on there. Also, let's right-click and manage BitLocker finally. And we'll turn off BitLocker on this drive. This drive will be decrypted. It might take a long time, but you can keep using your PC. Actually taking longer than I thought. Once it got to the 99%, now it's really taking a long time. Okay, so finally the decryption of my USB drive is complete. Took a little bit longer than I thought it would, but now it's just a normal USB drive. All right, I hope you enjoyed this demo.